Max, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me
much
on
for
again.
being here. Again, I know the viewers don't know as we filmed this yesterday and it didn't record. So, and Max is all the way here from London, a suburb of
That's
London.
it.
So he came all the way again. But thank you for coming to the at-home version of Dose of Bliss show again.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm so excited. He's a hypnotherapist and he is also a transformational coach. And so today we thought it'd be a really great topic to talk about, how your subconscious mind works and how you can control your thoughts for either positive or negative, which is really timely right now and any time in our life. So, we're in a quarantine right now. It's a pandemic. And obviously people are watching this in the future. They can take away from this. But, how does our thoughts control how we deal with this right now?
So our thoughts create our reality, and essentially whatever you think does manifest, whether it's positive or negative. And depending on what your beliefs are, I believe in the universe and the power of vibrations and things like that. And when you think a thought, you start to act in coherence with that thought. So if, for example, the media is keeping you in a state of fear, you're going to act in a fearful way. So the reason they like to keep you in a state of fear is because then they can sell you the cure or something like that. So if you can overcome the fear and you can move into a more higher vibrational frequency thought, so something of love, of gratitude, of joy, of happiness, of enlightenment, or something like that. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy to get straight there. But if you can start to think in those type of thoughts, then you start to naturally, this is where you can actually change your gene expression. You can actually heal your body. You can pretty much completely change your life. And I'm a great example of that, because I was the type of person that was always negative. I was the type of person that was always doing the wrong thing in society's eyes. And I changed myself because of how I changed my thoughts. And essentially, if you can change your thoughts, you start to change your feelings. And then your feelings start to change your emotions. And then the biggest thing is your emotions change your actions. And you can say as much as you want, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to be healthy. I want to be wealthy. I want to be free. But if you're not acting as a person who is happy, healthy, wealthy, or free, you're not going to get that result. And the law of attraction literally has the word action in it. So if anyone listening does agree with the law of attraction, then you can't, and just as Jim Carrey said, you can't just think about something and then go and make a sandwich. You got to act upon what you wanted to achieve.
Yeah, and people don't realize that when they think negative, they're actually acting on that. And I do want to get into that, but I like that you brought up that you weren't like this, because when you see someone who's a transformational coach or a hypnotherapist and they're doing this thing, sometimes people look at us and they're like, oh, they're happy all the time. You just had a perfect life. Like, so many people come to me being like, you were just born with everything you want. And I did have a great story, but we all have cards we're dealt and we have to use them. And, everyone has their own story. So what got you here?
It's a very long story, and I've actually been working on trying to shorten this down so I can explain it to people a lot quicker. But from a very young age, I was always, my mum's always taught me to be kind and stuff like that. And my mum, she's still in my life, and I'm forever grateful for everything she's done for me. But my dad was always such an angry, bitter person and full of so much resentment. The one thing that I really loved that my dad taught me was, you've got to go out and make money. So my initial thing when I first wanted on my journey was, I just want to make money. And I'm grateful that I have that drive inside of me, but that is not my driver anymore. But for a few years, I was just at school, and I was never really a great kid. I was just a bit of a nightmare at school. And then I actually remember saying to one of my friends that I said to him, I was like, we're poor. We've got no money at all. And this is going back to the subconscious mind quickly, is I was programmed because of a conversation I heard. So my parents said, we have no money. I took that literally because children naturally take things literally. And I naturally said, I'm poor. So I've had to change my paradigm of who I believe I am and my paradigm of abundance and wealth in order to get there one day. But at the age of 16, I broke my back, and then I lost a friend in a similar accident. I used to race motorbikes, and I broke my back, and then not long after I lost a friend. And after that point, I sort of looked at life and went, well, what's the point in just playing life safe? I was like, why don't I just go out and just do everything? That's all good.
I'm just gonna yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. I just said, I was like, what's the point in playing life safe? Why don't I just go and do everything? And that's when I started taking a lot more drugs, drinking a lot more, and really just, I suppose, just on self-destruct. I didn't really care. I didn't really care if who I was or what was going on. I just wanted to do something that was sort of out there. And I was always been the first person to go, right, I'll try that. I'll do that first. I'll do this first. And whether that was making, when I used to ride BMX, I'd be the first one to build the jump and do it. And I'd always fall off, but that's just naturally in my mind. And moving on between the ages of about 16 to 18, it was just drugs, alcohol, fighting, which led to depression, anxiety. And I got to a point where I couldn't actually leave my house because I was so scared of what someone would look at me. And my friends would be like, do you want to go for a drink? And I'd be like, yeah, by all means. But if they were already somewhere at the pub for a drink, I wouldn't want to go there, because I would think that I would walk in and everyone would look at me, and straight away I'd be like, I had so much anxiety running through me. And it really just got to the point where I just completely lost all like self-worth. I had nothing. I didn't like myself. I didn't have many friends anymore, because I started to drop a lot of my friends and lose a lot of friends. Then I wasn't in the best physical shape. I was very unhealthy, very unhappy, and I didn't really know what to do. And then that sort of led me to the life changer for me was actually the book The Secret. That was one of the things that really got me out of where I was, and it made me think slightly differently. And then
it changed a lot of things for me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It seems to be quite a common ground with a lot of people. And,
Yeah.
I do believe there's a lot missing from the book, in my opinion now, from what I know. But I'm so grateful for Rhonda Burns for what she wrote, because it was a very easy read. Bearing in mind, I really struggled to read when I left school. I had a reading age of about probably a 10-year-old. I could not read. And I just love the idea that if I think about it, it will come. So straight away I was like, right, that's it. I want £1 million. Where is it?
It doesn't work like that.
Exactly. And then I came across Tony Robbins. And when I came across Tony Robbins, I was just like, his story is me. That is me. What's happened in his life has happened in my life. How can I do what he's done? I was like, how was he ever at a point where he was not confident? And I was just like, I've got to get there. I don't know how, but I've got to get there. And that's led me down a very long journey. The past 5-6 years have been very long. Originally it was just business. There was nothing to do with what I do now at all. It wasn't really to help people. It was more to make money.
Yeah, which is again how it all stemmed from when you're younger, where your parents said you didn't have money, so you just thought, I don't have money, money will make me happy. And that's kind of interesting, and you were able to pinpoint something like that. Of course, there's other things in your life to affect your whole life. There's like the littlest things that happen that affect our subconscious mind for every decision we make moving forward. And something as small as thinking, I need money, I don't have money, I need money, to literally affect all these viewpoints in your life. Exactly.
And that's a great example of how the subconscious mind works, because it does literally program you. And I always wanted more money. I was never resentful of it. I was never jealous of it. I just wanted it. I just wanted to be successful. And then I think a year into my journey, this was when my life just sort of went from bad to worse. And I was at a really low point anyway. I just thought, right, motivational stuff, let me try and motivate myself. And then my dad beat up my mum, and sort of that he sort of just like ruined everything that was going on. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? I quit my job because I used to work for my dad doing building. Then I lost a lot of money trying to start businesses and stuff like that. And I remember at that point, like, I was just really not in a good place. And I was still like drinking a lot and still like taking a lot of drugs. And it was happening like 3 or 4 times a week. But I just didn't have any money or any drive. And then I was thinking about this today, and I sort of had that turning point of like, who do I want to become? And I was like, who do I want to become? And I was like, Tony Robbins is the person that I want to be. I want that life. And I looked at it and said, how can I do that? And like I said, it went from business after business after business, which then led me to marketing. And I started to do okay. Didn't make a load of money, but I started to do okay with the business. Then I went traveling and completely lost all interest and went full spiritual. I didn't have any desire for business whatsoever. And I was like, right.
I like made all this money out of magazine, and then I was like, this doesn't make me happy. It makes me happy, like society wise, and it's a passion, but I have no life. So then I stopped for a year and just like traveled. I was like, I don't want to do anything anymore.
And we've probably had a very similar outcome of what we both got, because after that I went to Bali, then I went to Peru. I did ayahuasca. I don't know if were you familiar with ayahuasca? Yeah, so I did an ayahuasca experience, and after that I came back and I saw what I believe ayahuasca did for me, because I didn't trip too much. I didn't really see anything crazy. It was more of a reset for me, I believe. And when I came back, it sort of brought me back and said, like, in my mind, I was just like, how do I integrate business with spirituality, with how I transform my life, and not making it too out there so that everyone can sort of understand it. And yeah, now it sort of led me to, and this is through mentors as well. I highly recommend mentors. If anyone, whether it's me, whether it's someone else, I'd always recommend someone to get a mentor, because my mentor guided me from the knowledge that I had. It wasn't like a tangible result I could get people, which then led me to hypnotherapy, NLP, transactional analysis, all these different therapies that I do. And now I can actually provide someone very confidently in a very short period of time the result that I want to give them.
I think your story, I really appreciate you for sharing that, because like I said earlier, people will look at someone like you and be like, he's got it together. They don't see the story that you experienced, exactly the thing of having a negative thought pattern and changing it. And like those subconscious things they're like there, those voices will come up for the rest of your life, but you're able to deal with it. So what's your advice for dealing with it? Because an example I also want to bring up is, with everything going on in the pandemic now, there's like, I have a super positive mindset and I always see the glass half full. So when I think about the pandemic, I think, wow, like everybody's coming together. We really can make a difference. Like you don't see the difference we make in the world. Look, just by taking care of ourselves, it just shows when you help yourself, you help others. And I feel like closer to my ancestors who have done so much for me. My grandpa was in World War II and got like shot there. And, my other grandfather was so poor that his siblings died of starvation coming to America. And I'm just like, they all had something in their life that was so hard to deal with. And now, the future generations could look at me and be like, wow, she did it. And so I'm seeing everything as like a duty to the universe in the world to make it a better place. Yeah. But then I talk about other people and I'll tell them I see it like that. And they'll just keep saying, I'm losing all my freedoms. Everybody's dying. And it's not that those things aren't sad, but that's all they see. They don't see anything positive. So what are some tips to make your thought pattern be more positive when you're stuck in that negative space?
Yeah. Essentially, we need to understand that a thought is not reality, and a lot of fear. The acronym for fear that I love is false evidence appearing real, because the fear isn't actually real. The fear is installed into you, because naturally we only actually have two fears in life. So someone who has anxiety, someone who has a lot of fears in life, it can be unprogrammed completely. We have a natural fear of falling and a natural fear of loud noises. So that's why if you I believe when a baby's born, they'll literally like smack something next to it and make sure that it can hear the noise, and to make sure it's okay. I don't know the reason behind it, but I know I've heard they do that. But the thought it's about catching the thought and not letting it expand. And it very similar to the coronavirus. Catch it before it starts to expand. If you can catch that thought, and there's what they call is killing ants. That's what a lot of people are saying. It's automatic negative thoughts, ants. If you can grab that ant where it is, you can grab that thought, and you can really say to yourself, it's just about, am I overthinking this? And it's slowly, and what I do is I replace it with something positive. So don't get me wrong, but a lot of people say to me, you're the most positive guy. You can't be this happy 24/7. I generally am very happy 24/7. But there are days where I'm just like, oh, this is just too much. Like, how am I going to get where I want to be? How am I going to do this? And this is where I bring myself back and say, it's just one of those days. Like, I can get myself out of it. And then I install myself with positivity. I install myself with meditation. I calm my mind. Because when you can truly stop the chatter, that mental chatter that's going on 24/7, if you can slow that down, you can start installing new thoughts, new behaviors, new feelings into your mind. And essentially with the work that I do, if you can make a specific feeling so familiar to you, to your mind, to your body, to your soul, then you naturally know what it's like. And if it's familiar, it's easy for you to do. So just like getting in a car, it's very easy for you to, it's illegal, but you could probably text, you could do whatever, do your hair, do your makeup, whatever it is, because you naturally know how to drive. Whereas if you're naturally programmed for negative thoughts, you have to unlearn it. And it's just like if you've been taught to drive, let's say you were taught to reverse everywhere. or no, let's say they changed the law and they changed it. You can't drive forwards anyway. You have to reverse. Everyone would have to get used to it. There's no choice. You have to get used to it. And we'd have to unlearn what we already learned before. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the same either way. I think people don't realize that their negative thought patterns is a habit. Like, you know, they hear something and instantly they're, you know, whatever you practice is what you're good at, the more you do it. So it's like that negative thought pattern, they don't even realize that's what they're instantly going to. So it will be harder to naturally go positive. But if you're thinking, wow, like my first thought is always the worst thing. I can't even be happy for something happy. Like you need to stop and say, why is this my first thought? That's like, you know, the first step. And that's when you can reprogram it, because it goes both ways. And you say, like, I have conversations with my thought. I have a bad one and I ask it, oh, that's not true. Why do you feel that way? I explain why I feel that way. I get to the root of what's going on and I talk about to myself, how can we make this better? Because I don't want to think this way anymore. And it's just
that's really interesting. What you said, you get to the root, because if you imagine cutting down a tree, you could chop off all the branches, but that tree is still growing. But if you get to the root of that negative thought, and that's why meditation, hypnosis are so powerful, because you're getting to the root of it. You're finding out what that emotion is, because essentially, if that emotion that you, so when you think that thought, it naturally brings an emotion. It could be empowering or it could be disempowering. So if I thought, let's say I went outside and I thought, right, someone's going to jump me, someone's going to beat me up, someone's going to attack me, straight away I'm giving off that vibration, and you'll naturally put yourself into like a scared state of mind. You'll be more hunched over, and you subconsciously do these things in regards to the feeling that you're feeling and the emotion that you're giving out. So if you can teach your body and your mind emotionally what you want to manifest into your life, again, making it familiar, it naturally starts to come to you, and you just start to change, and people will look at you and they'll be like, who are you? Like, who's that person? Like, why are you so happy? And first of all, they will question you. And I had it. They're like, why are you so happy all the time?
I know, and like, people mean to me, like, how dare you be happy all the time? People are going to hurt you. And I'm going to just hurt. Like, I literally had I asked someone, why are people mean to happy people? And they said, oh, well, because they know what it's like to be hurt, and they just think you're going to get hurt. So they're like, let me show you so you don't be happy anymore. I'm like, I never thought that thought before in my life. Like, I like, they're just like, you can't be that happy ever. And it's like, I mean, I guess
you know what it is?
Don't think you can.
Yeah, and do you know what it is? So we naturally are a vibration, and thought is a vibration. That's why the law of attraction works, because you can think a thought so vividly and it becomes familiar, and then it just attracts into your life. And your vibration is, and there's a scale in a book called Power versus Force, and it says, like, it's like a funnel, and it says, like, at the top is, like, I believe 800 plus is like the vibrational frequency, and that
I've seen that.
It's like
where you like vibrate from love and all those different
exactly that. So naturally, someone that's vibrating from fear or denial or depression, whatever it is, will be annoyed by someone on that vibration. And the good thing in someone like yourself who's happy and positive, you won't necessarily take that as, oh, well, they just don't like me. And this is something that I highly recommend to a lot of people, is if someone is really annoyed by your positive energy, that shows how unhappy they are. So if you can give them empathy and and you don't even have to give that physically to them, but just in your mind, you're just saying, I understand where they're coming from, because hurt people hurt people. Someone who's been hurt in their past is likely to hurt someone in their future. And if they've been programmed for anxiety, they've been programmed for anger, they've been programmed for being a tough guy, which that's what my dad was always like to me. I remember coming home one day and I was like, oh, Dad, these people are scared of me. And I wanted his approval. I wanted him to approve me as being a tough guy. And I'm not a tough guy. I eat plants and meditate all the time.
That really is what strength is its inner mind strength. Really what strength is.
And that's what I truly believe what a man is now, is someone who is kind, caring, is passionate, and does what they can to live their happy life. But essentially, coming back down to the emotion side of it, it's just about finding that new emotion that you want. Because if you can change your old emotion for a new emotion, then your life will change. And I 100% guarantee this, your life will completely change, because you won't be operating from, if we go back to the scale, you won't be operating from denial or anger. You may be operating from love, acceptance, joy, passion, enlightenment, or something like that. And it does take a bit of time, unless you use the power of meditation, hypnosis, and actually stilling the mind and actively going out to do it.
Yeah, and we only have a few minutes left, but one thing that reminds me of too is, it reminds me of a time I was in high school. One of my best friends, she told me this years later, and I would hang out with all these girls, and they would always go to all the parties. We would go to all the parties, but I didn't drink, because we were in high school.
Yeah.
We were like 15, so I didn't care. To this day, I don't even really care about drinking, and I didn't care. And I remember she came to our table, and she used to think she needed to drink to fit in. And she's like, I saw you, and all these people accepted you, and you didn't even care about drinking. You literally didn't even think about it. If someone offered you a drink, you're just like, no, I don't want one. And she's like, that inspired me to realize, oh, people are going to like me for me. I don't need to drink if I don't want to. Like, I should just do things if I want to do things, and I'll be accepted. And I was like, wow, I literally never even had the thought that someone wouldn't accept me if I didn't drink. I just thought, like, if people wanted to be my friend, they'd be my friend. And if we were fun, we'd have fun. And why would someone, like, it wasn't even a thought. My thought was, I do what I want to do. If I don't feel like drinking, I'm just not going to drink. Like, if I'm hungry, food, like whatever I'm going to do, I'm going to do. Like, that thought didn't cross my mind even at all, but it like crossed her mind. I didn't even know it inspired her, but it just goes to show, like, it's all in your head. Like, I literally didn't think it. So it wasn't a problem in my life with anyone. And it's just that carries everywhere.
Yeah. And that's so interesting, because just as you said, you weren't even programmed to think that. If you're not programmed to think about the word fear, if no one's told you the word fear, and no one's ever said it to you, you don't know what it means, you can't physically feel fear, because you don't know what it is, you don't know what it means. So this is what I would always recommend, and something, if you've got younger kids, if you've got younger brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces, whatever, install them, because they're in theta, which is a very low brainwave, and this is through hypnosis, meditation, and kids between 2 and 7 are naturally in this state. So they can be installed with theta, they can be installed with new programs, because they are very suggestible to it. So if you can say to a child to improve their confidence, to love themselves and things like that, they will naturally take these programs on. They will literally take the programs on as well, and it will start to play out in their life. So when they are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they will be that type of person that will just be, oh, I don't care if they don't like me because I do this. Like, they're going to accept me. I love myself enough. And if you can install people with self-love, confidence, kindness, passion, then naturally the world will just raise vibration, and everyone's going to be that much happier. And it just takes people like yourself doing what you're doing and
what you're doing.
Exactly.
To show people, we have to be the change we want to see in the world. So we only have like 2 minutes left. What's the biggest thing you want people to take away from this?
I just want people to understand that if you feel like you can't change, you can, because it doesn't matter where you are, there is a place where you can be. And it's just having that goal in mind. When you've got that goal in mind, it naturally gives you a pathway. And when you know what you want to achieve, something in your mind called the reticular activating system literally activates. And this is where people say, with the law of attraction, I want this new car, I want this new house, I want this new piece of clothing, t-shirt. You start to see it everywhere. It was always there, but you never actually noticed it. So when you have a goal of where you want to go, you will start to take action in accordance to that goal. And patience is a huge one, but it doesn't have to be a long process. You can go and get it done a lot quicker, but just allow yourself to have that goal and visualize every single day. You use meditation, and this can be done for completely free. I'd recommend to learn self-hypnosis from someone, myself, if you would want to. But if you can get yourself into a still state of mind, you can visualize who you want to be, you can feel those emotions, then you are going to become that person. And then naturally things will just play out. Things will come into alignment and your life will go from here to there very quickly.
And it does make a huge difference because, as you said, it reminded me of a time that whenever I'm going through a hard time, that's when I'll get into listening to, I usually do like a guided meditation and just like fall asleep. I don't even try to do anything. I just fall. It's literally like kind of like hypnosis. I just listen to someone talking things I want to hear. I didn't realize that it was doing anything. I just thought it was relaxing to not have my own thoughts listen to something else. But then the next day, I was just like really upset about something. When I get upset, I just like have a conversation with the universe. I start like yelling at it and fighting and telling it what I want. Like, being like, literally, I'm telling you what I want, blah, blah. So I said all this stuff that I was thinking and that I felt. And the next day I did that guided meditation again. And I literally said word for word what was in that guided meditation. And I was like,
no way.
It literally went into my subconscious. And if I wouldn't have done it the next day, I wouldn't have realized that I was word for word reciting something that I thought I had like fallen asleep to.
That's very interesting. And I'll just quickly touch on that. You can actually tap into natural states of theta. We go into it every single day, just as we're waking up and just as we're going to bed. Our brainwaves go from beta, which we're in now. They drop to alpha when we start to relax. You may be chilling out, watching a film, reading a book. And then theta, just before you go to sleep, you're in that very, very reprogrammable space. So you can actually tap into these states. And if you are just about to go to bed and you listen to something of confidence, of happiness, of joy, of wealth, whatever it is that you want to achieve, of health, you can start to reprogram your own mind. And it is literally like subliminal tapes. Why not access it? Why not use it? Because it's there, it's free. And we get into that state every day. So yeah, highly, highly recommend to do exactly what you do, and listen to something positive just before you're going to bed. Listen to a guided meditation, listen to a self-hypnosis session, and just allow your mind to take it in and then watch those changes just dramatically start changing your life. You don't even know.
I wouldn't have even known that I remembered it somehow word for word if I didn't listen to the next day. So these things, you think they're not changing you, but they are. And gradually over time, you'll be like, I don't think that thought anymore. Like, I'm not as hard on myself. It's like one day you wake up and you're like, wow, I guess like what I did worked, but you just, there's no way to really know until over time you just happen to see it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming back on the show, letting me re-record this, coming all the way from a suburb of London. Can you let everybody know where they can find
you? So on social media, all platforms, Instagram, or Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, them are all MAXIM 1111 It's Maximilian, but the ILLI is just replaced with 1111. It's my alignment numbers. And then just type in maxhypnotherapy.com, and also all my social medias on my website. And I'm more than happy to do. I always do a free 30-minute call with people just to see if we work well together, if I'd be the type of person to help them. And I'd love to hear from someone if they're interested. I'd love to explain a bit more and explain how it can help you and how self-hypnosis can help yourself.
Yeah, and I will link all that below on the YouTube video so everyone can follow it. I'll also have it pop up on the screen so everyone can become your friend. You should definitely follow him. He's amazing. He is so nice. I feel like I just had a therapy session. I hope everyone watching feels that way too. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll see you guys next time on the next Dose of Bliss. Bye.
Bye.